Ooh, what's good, all my trader and investor homies? It's your boy Kevin. This is Touchdown Trades, home of the #1 stock market trading and investing channel on all of YouTube. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the policies of the new administration. That's right, Joe Biden's policies and how they're going to directly affect the stock market. We're also going to be talking about stimulus. Is it going to come? Is it going to be $1,400? And when should we expect it? I know some of you guys are pretty political people. Some of you guys voted for Joe Biden. Others of y'all would not even pee on him if he needed a fire extinguisher. And that's okay. But no matter what your political beliefs are, the new policies are going to affect the stocks that you're investing in right now. So we need to be able to put those political beliefs on the sideline, pay attention to what's going on in the government, and use it to make some money. The worldwide t-shirt for peace has been for generations the tie-dye t-shirt, right? But I disagree with that t-shirt. I don't think it's the t-shirt for peace. I think this is the t-shirt for peace. This is really the t-shirt of unification, the great equalizer. Mr. Benjamin here is the great equalizer. We got a private Discord chat room, about 550 people in there, all different backgrounds, Democrats, Republicans, black guys, white guys, Asians, Hispanics, Jews, Christians, Muslims. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because we're all after one thing, Mr. Benjamin. We put our political beliefs on the sidelines and we pay attention on what's going on in the government to find Mr. Benjamin. So in today's video, we're going to do just that. We're going to do a deep dive into the new administration's policies, talk about what stocks it could help, what stocks it could hurt, how is the stimulus going to affect the stock market if and when it comes. Let's get it. If you guys are looking for a new broker or you just like free money, check out the link in the description for Webull. They're offering the Touchdown Trades community 2 free stocks valued up to $1,800. Can't beat it. Also, check out the link in the description for the free trial to the private Discord chat where you get my buy and sell orders in real time. All right. Let's talk about stimulus first. Are we going to see another round of stimulus? How much can you expect your check to be? Will you even qualify for it? How is this next round of stimulus going to affect the stock market? Then we'll move on and we'll talk about Joe Biden's policies, how they're going to affect certain sectors of the stock market from a negative standpoint, and how they will benefit other sectors in the stock market, and how we can exploit these policies to profit. Let's break it down. All right, so I got the SPY chart, the S&P 500 index 1-day, 1-year chart pulled up. The election was way back here in November. And since the election, the stock market has really been strong. And I think that's due to the fact that it's already pricing in the next round of stimulus. When stimulus is passed, money is just thrown out there and people invest it in the stock market. When money's flowing into the stock market, they're buying stocks. What happens? Stocks go up, the overall market goes up. So I think we're seeing that next round of stimulus priced into the market on this move higher. And I think if a stimulus bill is passed relatively quickly, we see the S&P 500, the overall stock market, remain strong. I even think we could see a test up here of $400 on the SPY. However, if we don't see another round of stimulus here relatively soon, I think that will negatively impact the stock market. And I think we see a pullback, a contraction in the overall stock market. Now, that's from a short-term perspective, a short-term outlook. Long-term, more stimulus is bad news for me from a stock market perspective. Sure, I like free money as much as the next guy, but it's not really free money, right? Giving $2 trillion out for free, somebody's going to have to pay for it. Who is that somebody? It's going to be businesses and big corporations. As long as you're not paying for it, it won't affect you. Wrong. When taxes go up on big corporations, they're going to save money somehow. The economy contracts. When the economy contracts, we see a pullback in the stock market. Earnings reports come out. They're a little bit weaker than expected. That's when you get the pullback in the stock market. I'm not expecting that tomorrow or next week or 6 months from now, but more stimulus equals more taxes equals a contraction in the economy equals a pullback in the market. Could be a year from now, could be 3 years from now, could be 6 years from now, but I just think we need to know that that's a possibility and be ready for it. All right, let's talk about that free money, that free cheddar. Are we going to get more stimulus checks? So the first couple of rounds of stimulus checks have already been passed out, and we have already got them in our bank accounts. There is Democrats proposing a $1.9 trillion stimulus package that would give every American $1,400 per individual. The Republicans said, slow your roll, homeboys. We don't want to pass a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. How about a $600 billion scaled down stimulus package? The two are arguing, and we have yet to come up with an agreement. Biden came out and said, nope, I'm not settling for anything less than $1,400 per person. No matter what happens, doesn't matter if it's $1,400 per person or $600 per person. I do expect the eligibility requirements to be much more stringent on this next round of stimulus checks. What do I mean by that? So the first two rounds of checks, if you made less than $75K per year as an individual, you qualified for stimulus and you got a check. If you're a married couple, you made less than $150,000, you qualified, you got a check. This next round of stimulus, they're talking about if you're an individual making more than $40,000 per year, you will not get a check. Couples making $80,000 or more most likely will not get a check. So both parties have agreed on this. There was a bill passed in the Senate, or a bill voted on in the Senate just a couple days ago, and it passed with bipartisan support. Actually, 99 senators voted yes, while one senator, Rand Paul from Kentucky, was the sole senator to vote no. And this bill was on making the eligibility requirements much stricter on this next round of stimulus. So they're saying, we're going to pass this bill, but in order to get it, you're going to have to make less money than the prior two bills. So if you make more than 40K, I hate to break it to you, you may not be getting another check. Something to keep your eye on, something to be aware of. All right, let's talk about some policies that could directly affect the stock market and some certain individual stocks. Biden signed a provision to the Buy American Act just a couple weeks ago. This provision basically says that the federal government is going to be spending the taxpayer dollars on products made in America. We'll talk about why this could be very important, and it can help us narrow down what stocks to buy in just a second. Also, we had Biden write an executive order freezing new oil drilling on federal land. Now, everybody was saying that this is going to kill the oil industry, and the oil industry probably is a dying space. However, this executive order will not really negatively impact the oil industry right away. The long term, probably, but right away, not so much. However, I do kind of see this as Biden saying, I'm green, I'm pro clean energy, and I see this as a pro for solar and EV going forward. Furthermore, Joe Biden came out and said he plans on replacing the government's fleet of more than 600,000 vehicles with all electric vehicles. It's pretty obvious who's going to benefit from this. Electric vehicle companies made in the United States are going to be the companies, the stocks that benefit from this if this actually takes place. If there's a purchase order for 100,000 vehicles going to one of these smaller EV companies, that's a huge deal. That's a company-changing deal right there. It goes on to say that it's not clear whether Biden means all electric plug-in vehicles or he means a hybrid solution, something like Hyliion, or just a hybrid vehicle in general. It doesn't say whether it's going to require that the vehicles have to be total electric. But I do think it's pretty obvious that solar stands to benefit. Solar stands to be a big benefactor from this clean energy wave. I very much think there's going to be solar subsidies passed in Congress, maybe even tax credits passed for residential customers of solar and especially businesses who put solar on their business. If you're a business and you put solar on your roof and you get a tax credit, that's a no-brainer. Businesses all over the country are going to start putting solar panels on top of their establishments, which means that these solar companies are probably too cheap at these prices, if that indeed happens. One company I see a lot of potential in is this iSun. They manufacture this solar carport where you have parking spaces underneath, then the solar powers these EV charging stations. I think this company stands to benefit from this new administration's policies. If tax credits are given out for solar and EV, this is like hitting two birds with one stone. Solar as a sector, I think, stands to benefit greatly from this new administration. Companies like Enphase and Tesla, big solar players. Right now, it doesn't make sense for me personally to put solar panels on my house because I live in a state where energy is relatively cheap. But for people who live in states like California and New York, it probably already makes sense from a cost-saving perspective to lease solar panels from a company like Tesla. However, imagine if the government slapped some tax credits out there to put solar on your roof. I think we're going to see people putting solar panels on the roofs all around the country. And how about EV stocks like Proterra? Proterra makes the big EV transit buses, the big EV school buses. They also manufacture EV batteries, and they have a member of their board about to become the Secretary of Energy. They have an in at the White House. So this Buy America Act, and Proterra has an in at the White House. If the government really starts to transition to total EV, transition their fleet, I think companies like Proterra, Workhorse, American-made EV stocks could really blast off. Lordstown Motors. Understanding these policies and who benefits can really help us hone in on some good long-term investments over the next couple of years. All right, let's wrap it up with a little bit of a conclusion here. Wrap the video together, put a nice little bow on it, and put it under the tree. So Stimmy, what about our Stimmy checks? Are we getting our Stimmy checks? Are they going to be $1,400? I believe so. I think the two sides come together. Biden says, hey, look, Republicans, don't stonewall my Stimmy, and next time you need a bone, I'll throw you a bone. And the Republicans are not going to want to agree to this. They're not going to want to do it. But I think they're going to realize that Biden probably could just jam this through if he wanted to. And if they want to get a bill passed, they need a couple of Democrat votes, that this will be good to have in their back pocket. I think we see a $1,400 stimulus check passed within the next couple of months. However, I think it's going to be harder to get. I think you're going to need to make less than $40,000 per year in order to get this next round of stimulus checks. Who's going to benefit from these policies? Well, we've talked about it. EV, solar. I think those are the two main sectors who stand and benefit. One kind of under the radar sector, autonomous driving, robo-taxis. I think that goes hand in hand with EV. As EV becomes more popular, autonomous driving is going to take off. Robo-taxis are going to take off. And I think that's kind of an under the radar sector to pay attention to. But my main focus right now is probably solar, followed by autonomous driving, followed by EV. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the video. I didn't mean to get political. I don't think it matters who you support, whether you're a Republican or Democrat. I think it's important to pay attention what's going on if you're invested in the stock market. These policies directly affect how much money you're making in the stock market. If you stay in tune, you can be ahead of the curve and make investments, get exposure into sectors that stand to benefit from the policies we talked about. You can really rake in, make some nice profit. All right, guys, that's wrapping it up. I love all of y'all. Catch you on the next one. Until next time, peace, deuces.
Drop.